Hello everyone, welcome to daily dose session of current affairs from Civils Daily. I'm here again after a long break of time. I was not feeling well, so I couldn't take the lecture. So from today onwards, whatever lectures I'm taking, I'm not specifying the date, but all the previous snippets, I'm covering it with the current news, right? So from in 2-3 days, I'll be covering up all the previous ones also along with the latest ones. So you just have to go through them. We'll be starting with the first news, that is government must constitute GST tribunals. So the Supreme Court has said that government has to constitute these GST tribunals. So basically what's important over here is that from your prelims perspective, it's important that for grievance redressal, tribunals related to GST has been specified under the act which was passed in 2017. Right, so it was specified over there that they have to make a tribunal related to GST, but it has not been formed yet. So the Supreme Court has said that government had no option but to constitute the Goods and Services Tax Appellate Tribunal. It has not been constituted even 4 years after the central GST law was passed in 2016. So a special bench has said that you have to constitute this particular tribunal. And the court was hearing a petition by Advocate Amit Sahani. This is not important. Section 109 of the GST Act mandates the constitution. This is important, that under the Act itself, the constitution of or the making of this GST tribunal has been mentioned. So Section 109 of GST Act that specifies that a tribunal has to be made. That's where the Supreme Court had come up that you have to constitute a tribunal. That was important from prelims perspective. Next is again related to important from prelims perspective, that is Odisha's Koraput's Manda Buffalo gets unique indigenous tag. So this particular breed from Odisha, that is Koraput's Manda, this particular breed of buffalo, it gets an indigenous tag. So it is native to Eastern Ghats. That becomes important, that this particular breed is native to Eastern Ghats. Now, important point over here to remember is that this breed becomes important because it is a sturdy breed that is disease and pest resistant. So it can be an alternative, especially important for drought prone areas, right? Also, it is important for whatever diseases they are prone to, they will become immune to it. So they are diseased and pest resistant. It is the 19th unique breed of buffaloes found in India. This is the 19th unique breed of buffalo. Other than this, already we have 18 species of buffaloes which have certain unique characteristics. These small sturdy buffaloes, they are used for plowing in their native habitat of Koraput, Malkangiri and Nabrangpur district. So these districts from Odisha, over there also they are in use. Already they are in use. So 4 breeds of cattle, that is Binjarpuri, Motu, Ghumsarai and Khariar, and the 2 breeds of buffalo, that is Chilka and Kalahandi, and 1 breed of sheep, that is Kendrapada. This you would have read already, right? They have already received the NBA GR recognition. So these things have become important. Prelims के point of view से ही जरूरी है ये. So go through these things. जो important चीजें रहती हैं, that I used to mark out. That's why I want you all to just prepare certain short notes from this, right? ताकि end में सिर्फ slides ना रह जाएं. You should have the shortest note possible with you, right? Next is related to important from prelims perspective. It may be added as a dimension to mains answer, as a dimension to your essay writing also. In your ethics paper also, certain things can be taken out from here. So right to sit. Tamil Nadu tables bill mandating establishments to provide seating for employees. Now this is an empathy factor which has been considered by the government, that all the establishment, the shops, etc., where the workers had to stand for a very long period of time, leading to certain health effects of these employees, that has to curb down, to end such things. Right to sit becomes a mandatory part for all the establishments, right? So the Tamil Nadu government, it tabled a bill in the Legislative Assembly making it mandatory for the establishments, shops, etc. to provide seating facilities for the employees. By amending the Tamil Nadu Shops and Establishment Act 1947, by adding a subsection of mandatorily providing sitting facilities for the staff, that becomes important. So ये important हो जाएगा, the Tamil Nadu Shops and Establishments Act 1947 they bring the amendment. So state wise amendment to such things can happen. ठीक है, हर state का अपना अपना. Now यहाँ से important ये भी हो जाएगा कि these establishment, shops, factories, they come under which list, right? Schedule 7 में किस list में आता है, that you have to check out, right? A few years ago, workers of textile showrooms in Kerala, they had also gone on a protest demanding the right to sit, prompting the government there to amend the Kerala Shops and Establishments Act in 2000. Now, अब अलग-अलग states के अलग-अलग acts हैं, that means this comes under the state list, right? तो state list में है, that's why the such amendments, state-wise amendments could be possible. And in 2018, it provided seating arrangements for them. So ethics के paper से you can take out the empathy factor from here, that how government become responsible to the employees, to the staff, and these things can be linked with your syllabus. Next is PM extends wishes to Jewish people around the world on Rosh Hashanah. So there is a festival which is known as Rosh Hashanah by the Jewish people. So it is the Jewish New Year. It's one of the Judaism's holiest days. The meaning of this particular festival or this particular day is head of the year or the first of the year. So now we have a Parsi New Year, right? Parsi New Year, which is celebrated as Nowruz festival, right? And this is one of the intangible heritage from India also, Nowruz festival. So this is the Parsi New Year, and this is Jewish New Year, that is Rosh Hashanah, right? This means head of the year, first of the year. Festival begins on the first day of Tishrei, that is the 7th month of the Hebrew calendar, which falls during September or October. Rosh Hashanah, it commemorates the creation of world and marks the beginning of the days of awe, a 10-day period of introspection and repentance that culminates in the Yom Kippur holiday, also known as the Day of Atonement. So important in your cultural perspective for prelims. Just note down this. And I want you all again to go through various New Year festival for different communities which are there in India at least. ठीक है कि किसकी New Year किस time पे होता है that year, because they can give you in match the following. Next, government must allowing local sales by SEZ unit sans import tag. तो इसमें important ये हो जाता है कि what all amendments have been made in the SEZ category. Important from mains point of view also. Prelims में हो सकता है एक दो statement दे दे, but mains के लिए this whole topic, because SEZ is there mentioned in your paper 3, right? So this is important from that. The government is considering a proposal to allow producers in special economic zones to sell their output to the domestic market without treating them as imports, right? So whatever things they are producing in the SEZ market, now you know the working of SEZ. SEZs basically are established in order to provide exports. They act as a hub for export community, right? They act as a foreign establishment in the Indian territory, in the domestic territory, maintained and operated by the Indians itself, by the country itself, right? So now the government is considering a proposal to allow the producers in the special economic zone to sell out their products in the domestic market without considering them as imports. अगर import की तरह consider करेंगे तो the price and other factors, considering all the other factors which are applied on the imports, they get applied on these products also. तो उसकी वजह से price में fluctuations आते हैं, right? So they are saying that okay, we can consider this, that you can sell these outputs, you can sell these products in the domestic market without considering them as imports. It also reviewed the exclusion of export-oriented units and SEZs from the recently notified tax refund scheme for exports. It was said by Commerce Secretary B.R. Subramaniam. He has assured the Export Promotion Council for EOUs and SEZs of a resolution of massive container shortages which are afflicting the exports in this particular sector. So this is a problem, one of the problem of SEZ. So this is important only from this perspective that they can be considered as import. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा देख लेना कि क्या चीजें हैं SEZs के. Basically, what are the features of SEZ, that becomes important, right? What are the limitations or challenges that this particular sector is facing? Parallelly, इसके exclusive economic zones होते हैं. Go for that also, just look at them. So all these things become important from this particular piece of news. Next, in data point we have today is no learning online. So recently, 2 reports had come out in India regarding the school education, the online education, which became a part and parcel for the people during the pandemic time, especially for the students. And to what extent we have progressed in the online education, or what kind of problems, inadequacies were seen during this whole pandemic time, especially related to education sector. So two major organizations which have gone for this whole collection of data was a school, one of the organization, another was Acer. Acer is one of the most prominent one, which goes for online education thing, or which goes for education data every year. So physical classes, they have been suspended in schools in India for about 1.5 years, while some students, they are able to study online. Learning was inaccessible for most of them, that we have seen. Two surveys, that is School Children Online and Offline Learning and Annual Status of Education Report, Acer, evaluated the impact of pandemic on learning. If we see, in August 2021, only 8% of the children in rural areas and 25% of children in urban areas, they have studied online regularly. Just see the percentage, only 8% in rural areas and 25% in urban areas, they have studied online regularly. Among them, many found it difficult to follow the curriculum and had connectivity issues. As a result, the percentage of children who could not read and perform calculations declined from pre-pandemic levels. Already ये level हमारा बहुत low है. Acer के अगर previous reports, if you see for the annual education, so those who can perform the mathematical calculations, those who can go for the alphabetical identification, the percentage of children is very less in that context. And because of pandemic, that has now aggravated to a very serious level, right? Hunting for net. So in March 2021, Acer conducted a study in 24 rural districts of Karnataka to estimate the learning loss and understand the current status. Nearly 18,000 children below the age group of 3 and 16 were assessed for their reading and arithmetic skills. And in school survey, 1362 underprivileged children across 15 states, it focused on children in rural hamlets and urban bastis and generally attend government schools, where 60% of them resided in rural areas and nearly 60% belong to Dalit and Adivasi communities. So it is an inclusive report which has come out. Now the various hurdles which have come in the way of children, why they couldn't study, why they couldn't go for online activities. The first, many not in class. Only 28% of rural children, they have studied regularly. 37% didn't study at all. It's a huge percentage if you talk about Indian population, especially for the children age group. 37% of the children, they couldn't study at all during this whole pandemic time period, right? And those who were able to study, only 8% regularly attended the online classes and learned through videos. Now, if you see this table, तो क्या reasons हैं जिसकी वजह से why they have, I mean, what all activities were available to them? So online classes या videos, you can just go through this whole data. Then private tuitions, watched TV, studied at home without help, studied with friends in each other's houses. So this was the kind of alternatives that they had during this whole pandemic period. Now, if we go through this second slide, we'll see that the learning roadblocks were many. If you go through these two tables, children did not have their own smartphone. That was one of the problem why they couldn't attend the online classes. Secondly, many have poor connectivity. We already know that the network connection, the bandwidth and everything was one of the major hurdles, especially in the inaccessible areas. No money for data. Many of them couldn't buy data every day, or if they have to download the material or everything, then you have to attend the classes, video classes. So that requires a lot of data. Online study was beyond child's understanding. They couldn't explore, or they couldn't inculcate that thing in their mind, in their heart, that they have to study it online. Basically, they couldn't concentrate on the screen for a very long period of time. That becomes one of the hurdle. And no online material was being sent by the school itself. So that was from the side of the schools also. Many of the teachers, they were not very much acquainted with these new technologies. So the material could not be sent, it couldn't be downloaded, and all these problems. Then learning loss, according to Acer in rural Karnataka, the percentage of class 5th students in government schools who could read class 2nd level texts decreased from 47.6% in 2018 to 32.8% in 2020. A great drop. and the basic arithmetic ability of such students also reduced. Up see, these things are only not for the data point. Now I want you all to go for some mind searching things over there, some mind blogging over here, that why such kind of hurdles are present in India, right? Reasons तो पता चल गए, ठीक है? What are the reasons that the children couldn't attend the schools या फिर उनके पास material क्यों नहीं available है? But you have to make certain points out of your reading, right? सिर्फ data point से काम नहीं चलने वाला. यहाँ पे now you have to find out कि what alternatives were present to them, what could have been done, certain innovative solutions. In many states, volunteers had come up with very innovative solutions, especially in northeastern sector. If you see, we had seen many examples especially in Assam, Meghalaya and these regions, that the volunteers have come up with certain new strategies and they have worked properly on that, right? या फिर all the corporate social responsibility, Hindustan Lever Limited, Mahindra and all, they have taken certain steps in order to the Tatas, they have taken steps in order to provide certain educational help to or support to these students, to these children. So you have to come up with those things also. You have to improve upon, you have to suggest certain new things. Then what was the strategy from the government side? How the national education policy is going to provide help in this? How effective the national education policy will be to cover up this whole gap of education that we have got now? So ye sari cheezein you have to link up, right? This is how the questions are made in the exam and this is how you have to answer. Fine. Next is PM urges private sector to help improve quality in government schools. Now you can link up both the news together. The previous and this one. Vidyanjali 2.0 was the portal to facilitate participation of donors and volunteers, especially in providing educational attainment to children. So the private sector, they must come forward and contribute to increasing the quality of education in government schools. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said on Tuesday, addressing inauguration of 10-day Shikshak Parv. Mr. Modi praised teachers for using online teaching and assessment methods to promote learning during the COVID crisis. And then he was talking, there were 2-3 projects that were launched in this particular seminar. So Talking Books project, he rolled out 5 initiatives, part of them implementation of national education policy, including a 10,000 word dictionary for Indian Sign Language and a talking book children for visually challenged students, a teacher training program for early childhood education, a standard setting authority for Central Board of Education, that is CBSE, and the Vidyanjali 2.0 portal to facilitate private donors, corporate social responsibility contributions and volunteering activities as part of these initiatives. So these are kind of linkages that you can make through while you are going through this whole education sector, primary, secondary, tertiary, har taraf pe, whatever problems had come, whatever things that you can come up in your mind that are coming in your mind, you have to jot them down together, right? So this was about the whole educational attainment, whatever education crisis we are facing. And I request you all that anywhere if you get certain kind of such students, right, those who are not being able to grab up or those who are not able to attend the classes, and if you are able to provide them certain tuitions or some book material, then please go for it. It will help them out and it will be very useful for them, right? So small steps make big changes. We always know, we already knew all these things, right? But we never apply it in our life. So I request you all to please go through such things, whatever is happening around you. With this, we end up our lecture today. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you, class.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.